Hey everybody, welcome back to this live episode of Think Mindset with Randy Denha and myself. Looking forward to talking with Josi Ryke and Julie Herman. Josie, Julie, it's great to have you on the show today. Randy and I always love talking to people who are in the business world and then kind of find a new idea and sprout a new entrepreneurial business from an idea. You guys are co-founders of the Salami Chip Company. And when I saw your thing, I've known Josie for a long time, posted on social, I thought, God, why haven't there been a salami chip? You know, it seems so obvious. And I said, right, yeah. Maybe I say, yeah. So what a great concept. And so to get us started, I just want to talk about how an idea goes from an idea that you're talking about to actually a business, and a couple, in the quick gist of the story behind the salami chip.
Okay, so I am a caterer. We've been catering for, I think, 27 years. One of the early parties that we did was a tapas party, and it was pre-internet, where we went to the library and we sat with cookbooks on the floor and found this recipe. But 27 years ago, fat and meat were not in. Nobody, they liked it then for that night, but it wasn't something that was going to be popular. So within the last 10 years, it became super popular. People ask for it all the time. And we've always been thinking, Josie and I have always been thinking about doing something together. And so I started talking to my other two partners, who are also partners in this business, that we should do this, and we should bring Josie on because she's the yin to my yang.
That's not what happened. Yes, I said, let me in.
No, you didn't.
I did.
I said, why don't you do this? You have to do this. So anyway.
Anyway, so you guys came together and it was sprouted, and then why the salami chip? Why not the ham chip, the prosciutto chip? I don't even know the other meats.
Oh, hey. Those are some ideas, though, for the future.
Right.
All right.
Right?
This is one of my questions.
I did? Right. Like, why not the turkey chip? Nobody's done a turkey chip.
Or an
vegetarian chip. Well, actually,
yeah.
Right. A vegetarian chip sounds like boring.
Gross.
But
so, it's an impossible chip.
It's a potato chip.
Right. It's a potato chip. That's not bad.
That's potato chip. Yeah.
The salami. Oh, that's my dog. The salami is, people at this time are not into, into bread, into anything like that. So salami fits right into any sort of person who isn't eating carbohydrates, doesn't want anything like this, but still can have something with a dip. So it's a chip and a dip, and you're still involved, and it's just a new idea.
A dip and a crunch.
A dip and a crunch, right?
You can, it's so versatile because you can put so many different flavors with it. And it can be fancy, and it can be sitting in front of the TV, not fancy.
So this is really, sort of the keto. This is a keto diet friendly. Right?
Yeah.
So, we're not keto certified. Okay, keto friendly, we'll call that.
Right. So I'm a neophyte when it comes to the term keto, but I'm also, like Jonathan, a guy that has a healthy lifestyle, right? But keto, and this is sort of me going into the business metaphor world, high protein, low carbs, or getting rid of bad carbs, similar to the people, business ideas, and other things in our life, right? So we want to bring in more protein, good, and bad carbs, negativity. So how do you get past in your everyday entrepreneurial sort of revolving door, and then sort of revolving and as well as evolving? How do you move past and achieve that next goal, knowing all of this, sort of keeping the keto philosophy in play?
The keto-friendly philosophy.
Yeah, the keto-friendly philosophy, protein
lots
good,
of different
carbs bad.
flavors.
How did both of you work together, to get to that and move past that?
Just trying things, trying different flavors of salami and different prosciutto wouldn't be something that could be done this way, but other, Italian hams or things like that can be done. We can we'll see, but we can maybe do a kosher one day, and we always make fun of this, but we could also make a cool ranch salami chip.
Because everything has cool ranch, right? So,
so let me ask you this. So you start this business, and like anything, right now as we sit here, it's November 18th, 2020. We're in the second wave of COVID. Some would say the third wave of COVID. And there's a lot of people that have been laid off, and there's a lot of people who are at their current jobs thinking, this isn't necessarily what I want to be doing. And I have this idea of ... right? But it just seems impossible, and it seems like nobody would buy it, and this and the other. And so and I think one of the most important things of any business is to know that you actually have an audience that will purchase your product. So as you're creating this product, right, bridge the gap on the testing you did to even know that somebody would buy a salami chip. I know we're in a keto-friendly world, but how did you know, and to the extent that you knew, how much were you willing to roll the dice on it?
Well, we had a really good audience base because through the catering business, this was served on a very regular basis. Part of our charcuteries, part of just the salami with jam and cheese. We've been testing this product for 10 years minimum. And every time we serve it, anywhere we go, people are in love. So we've tested it. Now we're talking to people like you guys. We've sent them out to different people. The reaction is the same every time, everywhere. People are in love. So it's about us keeping it at the right pace, right? And developing it. And we're learning as we go along. We've been in business together for 25 years. I've done entertainment stuff. I've had 2 of my own businesses. I sell real estate. This one is something I think that we both so believe in, and and our customers and our clients are behind us 100%, and it's great. We're getting great reviews. It's the most exciting thing we've done. And this time we understand what has to be done. We have to come on programs like this. We have to push ourselves forward. We're girls that are like, yeah, we do a great job, but we want to be behind the scenes, but we have to be in front of the scenes. And that has been our stumbling block the entire time we've been in business. And now we understand going forward what has to happen in order to be successful.
Right.
You remind me of, and I think of, Garden Fresh salsa when I'm listening to the both of you. I mean, Jack Aronson and his wife in their Ferndale restaurant, I believe it was a barbecue restaurant, were mixing the salsa and created the world's #1 refrigerated salsa and sold it to Campbell's for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes.
But they had the moxie, which is what I see in both of you, and you guys are very familiar with, to go out there and do it. And good for you. But tell me, what drives you? I mean, obviously, Josi, you just mentioned you've had, a career that spanned different industries.
Mm-hmm.
How did you two connect? Was it just in the catering business, and then take something from seed to, to really blossom that idea? Because you had to.
That we graduated from college.
No. So you may say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. We met the summer we graduated from college. Saving up money to just get out of Dodge, and we worked for a landscaping company.
And that's how we met.
And it was one of like 8 jobs that we each had that summer.
Right.
So, and when we first met, it was like we were meant to be friends.
Right.
Yeah.
I always say that she's my girl soulmate. I am married and I have a soulmate, but she's my girl soulmate.
You guys are like 2 sunflowers that turn toward the sun, which is each other.
Right.
I love it.
For the last 2 days, we're like, oh my God, how have we lived without being in business together? our two brains make one really good one.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you bring up, Josie, I love that. And you bring up something really important is finding the right business partner. You know, I think a lot of times you have people who are an entrepreneur or half-apreneur, and they need that other half of the person, which sometimes they know. And then yet finding that person can be very difficult, and then forging a business relationship and owning a business together can be very difficult, right? And so what really is the secret of trust behind a successful partnership? I mean, you got the love, but what else?
We've worked with each other for so long that I think we would know.
We take each other, the good, the bad. I can be a little strong-minded at times, and Julie can deal with that. And sometimes she does things that are a little whatever, and I can deal with that. So it's like a marriage. It's like and we're together. My husband and I, Brian, used to work in business together a lot, and most couples can't do that. Now we're married, and we spend an awful lot of time together. And if you can't spend that time together, you can't work, you can't do it, because it's a lot of togetherness.
Yeah.
Sure. That's sort of, the way, if I ask, 10 different entrepreneurs, how do you define success? Many of them would probably talk about top line numbers, right? Revenue, net profit before taxes, EBITDA. It sounds like you guys have a different sort of metric. In addition to obviously having a successful business with high volume, I think, also define success as being able to work together and other intangibles that I think so many are missing these days, especially in partnerships.
You have to be able to wake up with yourself every day.
Yeah.
And you have to keep practicing being a good person. And you have to be able to sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
So these are a few good reasons that you should try to do well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's dive into that, because I think heart leadership is really, really important. Not only for business partners, but also for managing all of the people. My son, I've known Josie for a long time. My son worked for her, in her catering helpers. And always would come back having such a great experience because of the way, he loved talking to people and the way that everybody treated him. And so how do you, as leaders, I think it's more important today, especially because companies are working remotely, how do you package the love, the trust, the synergy, the energy that you guys have together, and based on what Randy's saying, and then lead and inspire your people in today's world?
You have to treat how you want to be treated, right? Like, bottom line. Do you want to be yelled at? Do you want to be, I listened to your, yesterday, we listened to your podcast. And you guys, what you're saying is say the list, right? And not the screaming. So we try to say things with love, right? And it's not even the list for me. I would say to somebody, hey, I know that you just got here. This is how we do this. This is what we do. And if somebody does it wrong, it's just not a big deal, because you go back and you fix it.
Right.
And the way we treat them like they've been with us, they're part of our family. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Just to kind of interject, I talked to Gabe Karp yesterday, and he does a lot of talking on healthy conflict. And one of the things he talks about, what you're mentioning is, when you're in a conflict situation, you have to give somebody some cues, use your shopping list voice, not a kind of tired type voice.
Right. In the heat of the moment, though, it's rough. Right. I mean, it is rough. You got, and so you've got to be so consistently paying attention to that, because it's easy to go off and it's easy to forget how you're supposed to act.
And Mama always said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right. So it's what we do when we were doing it, catering. Julie did the catering, and I does the staffing. And in the heat of the moment, we got 200 people in a room and you're running around and everybody wants something. And sometimes those teachable moments run away from you because you're just stressed out.
So, Josie, I mean, we always talk about, for the both of you, you and Julie, we always talk about work-life balance. It sounds like there's spillover in terms of what you guys are doing, because again, you're married to people that are involved in the business with you.
Yes.
And you guys spend so much time together. How do you, I guess, is there a silo that you can compartmentalize the business from family, or does it all sort of gel together to make it more meaningful for your day, your daily activity?
It depends, though. Do you remember the Bugs Bunny cartoon where the dog and the coyote went to work together and punched in, tried to kill each other, and then punched out and went for coffee? Sometimes that's me and my husband. But also, when lockdown happened, everyone was like so irritated with their partners, and I'm like, why am I not irritated with my partner? And then I realized I'm with him every day, all the time anyway. It's not any different.
Nothing.
So
people had to adjust to that.
Right. They had to adjust to be irritated. Right. I was always irritated.
So I have a question, and Josie, this is geared more towards you, and Julie, and you as well, but I've known Josie for a long time, and one of the things I've always admired about you, Josie, is your grit and your hustle. And so you never disappoint, and no matter what you are doing, what career you are in, you have great energy. You are always, high frequency, high vibration, loving what you're doing, and you're hustling, and you're as gritty as it could be, while always being highly professional and just in the zone, ready to be of service and make experience for everybody else. And so I think that's just part of your DNA, but how do you bottle that up and help educate and make other people aware on how to kind of tap into that within their own energy? I always say to my kids, what does your face look like? Are you approachable? Does somebody want to talk to you? Are you giving what does that look like? If I give a face that says, stay away, I don't want to talk to you. So I like to present that I'm friendly and I want to talk to you. I want to talk to everybody. This is so hard for me. I can't talk to people at the grocery store. And I like to chat with people at the grocery store. And I can't make those connections anymore. It's very difficult. Right. And today everybody's like taking your temperature before you
right.
They got their hand thermometer. Right.
I can't see their faces. So that's hard for me. So now I'm like in my eyes, hi, So it's what you present with. I think it's so important, that first look to you. What do you look like? Are you approachable? Does somebody want to talk to you? And when somebody comes to work with me, I know what it's like to go to a first job somewhere where you know no one, you feel uncomfortable. In the time when we could hug and kiss, everybody got one when they came in and they got one when they left.
Yeah. You know what? I want to hear about your hustle too, Julie, because I just know people who know you, and I hear the same thing about you. But I just want to tell you a funny story that I thought of about a grocery store. I was in line once at Holiday Market, and Chobani Greek yogurt had been recalled, and this girl in front of me had a whole case of it in her whatchamacallit, in her basket. Yeah, sure. She said, "Excuse me, miss," and we were all in line for something. I said, "Excuse me, miss, but Chobani was recalled," and she looked at me like she wanted to kill me. So I don't know what I said wrong, but I'm going to tell her again. So I said, "Excuse me, I just want to tell you that Chobani was recalled." And she looked at me. She goes, "Oh, I thought you said to me, 'Hey, miss, I love your body.'" So she thought I was like this pig, right? But so I don't know, maybe think of that story. Yeah.
We have to, we all read lips and we don't really know it.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to repeat yourself.
Correct. Right. Well said.
Right. Yeah. And listen, and back to like the grit thing, any job that you're going to do, you better do it the best you can get it done, or there's no reason for you to be there and for you to be doing it. Yeah. Right.
So I want to shift a little bit. I want to talk to me about how you both generate new ideas as entrepreneurs. how do you generate new novel ideas for your company?
We just like shoot things at each other and all of us, and we just think about, you know, what would work and what might not work, and then we try it. And we are lucky because we have the catering company to actually be our guinea pig, and so they can try this, and if doesn't get a good reception, then we'll toss it and, you know, work in a different way. So
it's hard to say yet with the Salami Chip Company because this is our first, you know, outing. For me, when I used to do the entertainment stuff, and I had a company called Entertainment by Design, where I created ideas for people to do projects at events, and then they would take those home as giveaways. So I had always come up with new ideas, how it was going to be done, how we were going to get 100 people through a, you know, in 3 hours, how it was going to get done, how creative it had to be. That to me is the most fun thing. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, it's how you put the pieces together and what the end result is. Here, we've got what we're doing now is we figured out the salami. Then we had to figure out how to package it. Then we had to figure out how to put the stickers and what kind of logo. And so everything is a project and a decision. Every little move. Our next thing, because our package says original, we hope to go on and do different things, do different flavors, you know, hot, you know, but this is just our first go out.
Right. We'll see. You know, hopefully it takes off and we get to do a million different kinds.
Do you find that because of COVID and people sitting at home and likely gaining weight and munching a little bit more, that sales have picked up?
You know what? We didn't have as much catering as we did before COVID, so we had a lot of extra time for this too.
So COVID, in a weird way, was good for us, right? Because we're a lot further ahead than we would have been because we've missed a lot of busy seasons so far.
Right.
You know.
Surprisingly, COVID, you know, and again, I've been a lawyer now for 23 years, 24. COVID has been good to many businesses.
Not to catering.
Which, you know, I mean, so many of them have seen an uptick. Now, others have been affected, but I can just imagine, you know, the salami company, in terms of online orders and other things, I mean, I'd imagine has to have seen a little bit of an increase.
Well, we just launched we've created a crowdfunding campaign on our own website. Okay. Again, because we didn't want to pay everybody's fees. So, you know, doing it all ourselves, which part of it, we have to let go of that. That's really going to be difficult for us. When you have 4 people who have been making a living literally with their hands, it's harder to say, okay, I'm going to pay somebody to do that.
Right.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So that's going to be our challenge in growing. You know, it's going to say, when do we have to give that up a little bit?
Well, you know, my quick recommendation is you got to determine what your price per hour, price for, you know, what your value is.
Right.
And then you got to start delegating, because it's really hard to scale if you're wearing every single hat and you're doing $10 an hour work when your time is better spent in $1,000, $100 $500 an hour leading activities. So,
and this is where we've been. And this is where we promise not to stay there.
Right.
Well, I think a lot of business people and a lot of new entrepreneurs and a lot of startup companies fall into that trap, right? There's a rush with doing everything. You know, it's part of the creative flow process. You got the art and the science and the flow, and it's hard to describe what to do because it's being done for the first time.
Right.
But as you start to document and systematize everything, it's really, really important to delegate all of that, because that's where companies really get bottlenecked. And I know Randy and I have had guests on the show. They talk about this, you know, on a consistent basis. But let me ask you a question. So as you look at the team, right, there's 4 of you?
Yes.
Right. And so how do you determine how a decision actually gets made? Because there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, no pun intended, right? So what's the decision-making process?
Well, and you have two couples that are married, so it's really
Correct, right.
No. My husband helps, but doesn't work in the business. So he and I have done businesses together in the past. He is the executive director at a temple, and but we do need him for all of our technology sort of stuff. So he is there. We have two partners are Eric and Brad, and Eric is Julie's husband, and Brad is our friend, and Brad is Brad.
Right.
You know what? We've been working together for so long that we we put everything in, and then somebody decides, and it's not whoever decides first.
And we have girl power.
Right, we have that too.
All right, good.
And also, I want to touch on something Randy said. The chips are actually low in fat, and they're only 70 calories per serving.
Really?
So
I can't wait to try them.
I'll bring you guys some this weekend. We're going into production. John, I'll bring some over.
Oh, hey, good. Thanks. I can't wait. All right, so let's go. Let's do a quick speed round. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. Biggest number one lesson you've each learned about each other as business partners as you started this company?
Personally, that sometimes it's more about what I've learned about me, about dealing with other people and being so close is sometimes I have to take a step back and shut my mouth and listen and consider what others have to say, because I've been in business by myself for so long that it's just usually whatever I say, right? You know, she did the catering, I did the service. Together now we're doing something together,
right?
Yeah.
Not me doing one job and her doing another.
Right.
I've learned that we each have our special ways
right.
of doing things.
Julie, how about you?
So I'm a huge multitasker, which is not a gift sometimes, because I'm like in the middle of doing something and then I'm starting something else and then squirrel. And so this has taught me to take a step back and do things one at a time, because there's a huge amount of work that has to be done in order to get this business launched, like with the USDA and nutritional information and shelf life analysis and all these things that we had to do. I really had to kind of pay attention to one thing at a time. And she actually was very helpful in that.
Which is weird because I'm so ADD too. I can't figure it out. I'm worried when I have to start telling somebody to slow down.
Right. I love it.
So here's my question to the both of you. And Julie, you're first, since you have not been first yet. If you were going to write a book, now this is a question that you're going to answer for the other. So a little different. If you were going to write a book about your partner, what would you title it?
Oh, that's a great question.
So Julie, you're going to answer for Josie, and Josie, you got time to answer for Julie. I can't wait to hear this one.
My sister from another mister. That's what I would call it. The first time we met, we knew we were going to be friends, and we've been friends for a very long time. And we have our moments, definitely, but we're friends. And there's strength in having somebody that's so good to me.
Right.
For me, for Julie, is the kindest soul. Really very caring. I appreciate that you put up with me. And I couldn't ask for somebody better. Again, my sister soulmate, right? I mean, that's it. I would say that my husband, he's half of my brain. When I'm with her, she's a half of my brain. So I'm a full person when I'm with my people.
That's wonderful.
Wonderful.
I love it. Lots of love in the air. You guys are great. I'm so glad that you are both on the show. Tell everybody how to get a hold of your products, how they can buy it, where they can get a hold of you, all your social platforms, any contact information, etc.
Okay, so we are the SalamiChipCo.com, and you can look at our website. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Look for us soon on TikTok. We'll figure that out. And this is Minnie.
That's Minnie.
Are you guys on LinkedIn as well?
Oh,
I have a LinkedIn page that I am doing both my stuff from.
Okay, good.
So yeah.
All right, good. All right, the SalamiChipCo.com. I'm gonna just share a couple things that I love the energy that you bring. You guys really define what great partnerships should look like. Lots of love, lots of trust, lots of hustle, lots of grit. I know you both have been entrepreneurs and in business for many, many decades. And so this is
right.
This next chapter sounds really exciting, and I appreciate you sharing. These types of talks have a way of really inspiring many people to do things that maybe they've been on the sidelines thinking about. And, I think that that's going to happen when they hear this conversation. So I want to thank you both for being on the show. I'm going to let Randy close, but thank you both very much.
He always does this thing on the closing. One thing you guys bring, I know we talked about it earlier, moxie.
Yeah.
And one thing I've learned today from just feeling the energy from where I sit, there are many forces of nature in this world. Tornadoes, hurricanes, running rivers, and now Josi and Julie. So putting in your win today.
Yeah.
thank you.
I love that.
You are way too kind. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All the best in your business. I'll speak on behalf of Randy and I. We wish you all the success in the world. And in about 3, 4, or 5 months, as you guys are continually in growth mode, we'd love to have you back on the show and talk about how you're doing and all that other good
and
stuff.
And by that time, we'll have tried the chip.
Excellent.
For
I
sure.
will. Don will get you yours, right?
All right, Don.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good
It
day.
was so fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.